Hello everybody, welcome back to the Chunkiest Dude. This is Jordan. Today I have an important weather update as we do not have potential for severe weather over the next few days, which is good, but we do have a lot of activity in the tropics. In fact, we have Tropical Depression 9 and Hurricane Humberto in the Atlantic, which we'll have to watch over the next several days. We also have Hurricane Narda in the Eastern Pacific, and we also have Typhoon Bauloi in the Western Pacific, which will make landfall in Vietnam. We also have potential for flash flooding over the next few days. And we also have some other things to talk about in the weather as well. So anyways, let's get straight into this video. First of all, looking at our severe weather threat over the next few days, we do not have any severe weather threat for the next few days, but I'm still going to go over this. So first of all, here's our day 1 outlook. We could see some scattered thunderstorms across the southeast into the mid-Atlantic. We also have a risk of some thunderstorms across the southwestern United States into the southern United States. Generally just going to be some scattered thunderstorms, maybe a couple strong thunderstorms. Tomorrow we have a large area we need to watch out for some scattered thunderstorms across the southwestern United States into the Rockies. And we also have another area to watch across the southeastern United States associated with what will be Tropical Storm Imelda. And then for day 3, we have a few areas to watch. First of all, across parts of the Rockies and a little bit to the west of that. Then across north central New Mexico, western Colorado, mainly the Rockies area, into a sliver of southeastern Wyoming, and then a sliver of the southeastern United States again from future Imelda. Look at day 4 for outlooks for day 4 and 5. They don't have theirs outlined yet. We might see a low-end tornado threat outlined in the future because of future Imelda, but it will likely be a low-end threat at the maximum, probably like a 5% tornado risk, and it should stay well offshore for the most part. Day 6, 7, and 8. We might see a trough move through, but right now there's not enough certainty for them to outline any areas of what they may in the future. Next, we are going to look at our tropical activity in the Atlantic. We have to watch Hurricane Humberto and Tropical Depression 9. So right now, Tropical Depression 9, no tropical storm force winds, is bringing heavy rainfall to parts of Cuba and much of the Bahamas, and there's Air Force hurricane hunters that are going towards the storm to find if it might be a tropical storm, to find where the center is, the pressure. Look at the forecast. Right now it's at 30 knots or 40 miles or 35 miles an hour, with gusts up to 40 knots or 45 miles an hour. It's expected to gradually intensify over the next few days into a low-end Category 1 hurricane. Sustained winds of 65 knots or 75 miles an hour, and gusts of 80 knots or 90 miles an hour, before eventually gets pulled to the east by Humberto. Here is the forecast cone. We have tropical storm warnings for all of the Bahamas, and we also have tropical storm watches across the east central coast of Florida. Looking at Humberto, it is an extremely dangerous Category 4 hurricane. Looking at the forecast advisory, is expected to strengthen a little bit later today to 155 miles an hour or 135 knots, with gusts of 165 knots, or what is that, like probably like 185 miles an hour, I believe. No longer expected to be a Category 5, and after that it would gradually weaken over the next few days after its peak, eventually becoming extratropical. Looking at the forecast cone, it may bring some impacts to Bermuda, and we'll talk about those in a minute. Looking at our wind speed probabilities, here is Tropical Depression 9. You can see portions of Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, and North Carolina may experience those tropical storm force winds. Much of the Bahamas will feel those tropical storm force winds. But luckily, the strongest of the wind should stay out to sea. Looking at the key messages here, mainly going to be about the rainfall. Not as much of winds, but the rainfall amounts could be significant, seeing up to a foot of rain in some areas along the coast of like Georgia, the Carolinas. For Humberto, here's your wind speed probabilities. You can see Bermuda will likely see some tropical storm force winds. Most of the wind will be out to sea though. And we do not have key messages for this one, but this will likely bring heavy rainfall, tropical storm force winds, and storm surge to Bermuda. Looking at the eastern and central Pacific, we have this one area of interest, 10% chance of formation in 48 hours, 20% chance of formation in 7 days. This is a broad tropical wave that could form into an area of low pressure over the next few days, and it could gradually develop as it moves generally to the west. And we also have Hurricane Narda here. You can see it's been holding its intensity at 80 knots or 90 miles an hour, with gusts up to 100 knots or 115 miles an hour the last couple of days, but it's expected to gradually weaken, eventually dissipating, and before that's going to become post-tropical and a remnant low. And then in like 4 or 5 days it should dissipate, very weak and far away from land. Here's your wind speed probabilities on that. Generally, very out to sea storm. Really nobody's gonna see any impacts from this. Looking at the Joint Typhoon Warning Center, we have Typhoon Bauloi, which is going to make landfall in Vietnam, and already made landfall in the Philippines a couple days ago. And we also still have Typhoon Neogari, which has recently become a typhoon, although it's expected to reach its new peak intensity as an extratropical storm. Looking at Bauloi, you can see right now it's at 75 knots or 85 miles an hour before landfall, and Vietnam is expected to reach 95 knots or 110 miles an hour, and a major typhoon landfall cannot be ruled out. After that, it's expected to gradually weaken as it moves inland before dissipating over like Thailand, I think, or something over there. Not exactly good with countries over here, but it's going to move decently far inland, bringing some heavy rainfall, maybe some tropical storm force winds to some areas. And then we also have Neogari, which is expected to reach 85 knots or 100 miles an hour in tomorrow, but it will likely be extratropical by then, and then it will dissipate well to the southwest of the Alaskan islands, to the south of the Russian islands there. Nothing really to worry about, and we have no areas to watch besides that. Looking at satellite imagery, here's Humberto. You can see very good eye wall, holding its intensity pretty well. Here's Tropical Depression 9. Not the best organized, but we're starting to see some better convection, and is expected to organize over the next few days. And you can see it's already starting to organize some. Here's Hurricane Narda. Kind of starting to lose some of its convection, is probably starting to transition to an extratropical cyclone. Here's Bauloi. You can see pretty good convection there. We might start seeing an eye form soon on it. And finally, here's Neogari. You can see pretty good convection, not a big system, and it's expected to become extratropical. Tomorrow, you can see it's starting to transition to almost an extratropical kind of look with its shape there. Finally, looking at your sea surface temperatures, very good sea surface temperatures across the Gulf of Mexico, the Caribbean, also into the east of that. And then we also have some decent sea surface temperatures across the main development region, although not great for development, but if something did form there, it could gradually strengthen. Eastern Pacific, besides the coast of Mexico, not super great sea surface temperatures because we've had systems moving there a lot. Western Pacific's on fire with widespread 28 to 30 degrees Celsius sea surface temperatures. You can see where Regasa went. It's a little bit cooler. Nothing's probably going to develop there if it tries. Northern Indian Ocean, pretty warm. To the east of India and to the south of that. And we're starting to see the southern hemisphere get a little bit warmer in the northern latitudes there. So we might start seeing some activity as we get into October and November in the northern parts of the southern hemisphere. Finally, we will look at the excessive rainfall outlooks. For today, we have a few areas to watch. We have a slight risk of excessive rainfall across southern California into western Arizona, another one across southern into central New Mexico, and then another one across eastern North Carolina and eastern Virginia, as well as southern Maryland and southern Delaware, where you can see some scattered flash flooding today, isolated significant flash flooding. We have marginal risk of flash flooding across southeastern California, southern Nevada, southern Utah, southwestern Colorado, much of New Mexico, and all of Arizona, as well as northeastern Florida, eastern Georgia, all of South Carolina, all of North Carolina, northeastern Tennessee, all of Virginia, eastern West Virginia, all of Maryland, southern Pennsylvania, southern New Jersey, and all of Delaware. We could see some isolated flash flooding today. For tomorrow, we have a slight risk of excessive rainfall across the western Texas Panhandle and across southern into central New Mexico, with a marginal risk of excessive rainfall across other portions of the western Texas Panhandle, much of New Mexico, northern Arizona, much of Nevada, much of Utah, western Colorado, eastern Florida, southeastern Georgia, eastern South Carolina, and eastern North Carolina, where we could see some isolated excessive rainfall tomorrow. And for the day 3 outlook, we have a marginal risk of excessive rainfall across southwestern Oregon and northern California. We have a slight risk of excessive rainfall across much of South Carolina, southeastern North Carolina, and a marginal risk of excessive rainfall extends from southern Virginia into much of North Carolina, much of South Carolina, eastern Georgia, and northeastern Florida. That is associated with what will be Hurricane Imelda. Anyways, that's all I have for this weather forecast. So we will not see severe weather the next few days, but after that we could see some low and severe weather threats from what will be Hurricane Imelda, Tropical Storm Imelda, and from also a trough that could move through late next week. We have a lot of tropical activity. Bermuda, the Bahamas, Cuba, and the east coast of the United States could see impacts, as well as southeastern Asia, especially Vietnam and Laos. And we also could see some flash flooding across the southeastern United States and the southwestern United States into the mid-Atlantic United States. Remember to like this video, subscribe to my channel, share this with your friends and families, especially those in the impacted areas, and don't forget to leave a comment down below so that I know you guys like my videos, so that more people will stay informed, and so that YouTube will push my videos out to more people. Goodbye.